Happy Valentine's Day. What's up, people? I am back recording another book review today. And today I've got Wind/Pinball by Haruki Murakami. And this book is actually not one book, but two books in one. 2-for-1 deal. So the first book, which is called Hear the Wind Sing, was the first ever book that Haruki Murakami wrote. And the second one, Pinball 1973, is kind of a continuation that he wrote later on in his career. And then there's a third one, and I think there might be extensions even after the third one, but this is like the last official one of the trilogy, A Wild Sheep Chase, which I'm reading right now. Very, very good. Better than the first two, I will say. Just how far, even with just this far in it, it's much better than the first two. But the first two are still great, worth reading. It's just, they're awesome. I would say they're very much dude books. They're much with guy books. I don't know if I would... They're awesome. I don't know if girls would enjoy it as much, because it's just very dude, the vibes of these books. The way he writes is really cool, very interesting style. Just kind of cool, a lot of cool stories. Like, he sleeps with twins and stuff, you know, a lot of like sex and tons of drinking and tons of cigarettes been smoked, stuff like that. Okay, it's me again. I was just re-watching the footage that I filmed for Wind Pinball, and I realized I was talking about it's a very dude book, and I made it sound like it's like vulgar and there's like a lot of sex and drugs. It's not. It's really not. It's like a kid could read that book and they would enjoy it. Like, it's cool. There's nothing, they don't go into like detailed sex or any of that stuff. Like, it's not gross, it's not vulgar, but I just mean it's kind of like the life of a dude. Like, it's very guy. It's just a very boy book, but it's not vulgar or anything, so don't get scared by like that. So please, I don't want to give anyone that impression, because it's a great book. Yeah. But cool book, good way to pass the time. Really enjoyed it. Not a ton of like deeper meanings to get out of it. You know, it's not like the most profound book. It's some of the first books he wrote. But I would say one of the coolest things about reading this book is getting to read his introduction, because you get to learn a lot about him as a person, and like how his life was, why he decided to read this book. Like, he was reading while he was writing his first book. He was like working at a jazz bar. He would stay late after hours to write this book. You get to learn about these kind of magical events that happened in his life, that kind of inspire his magical realism aspects that he puts in a lot of his books. Like, there's this one time him and his wife had a debt. They're pretty low on money. They're struggling. And then one day they're walking along the street and they find just a pile of money, the exact amount to pay off the debt that they needed. So of course, what are you gonna do? And that's just, you take it. It's from the gods. It's literally money from the gods sent to you to pay off your debt, obviously. And then there's a couple other moments that he talks about. So it's kind of cool to learn about where these aspects in his books come from. I would say definitely worth a read. It's not a super long read. It's enjoyable. It's cool. Yeah, it's a great fiction book. And now I'm going to start spoiling it. So if you haven't read it, go read it now. Now! Okay, so for the two books, the Hear the Wind Sing and Pinball 1973, I think they're pretty similar in terms of style, in terms of what they accomplish. I think Pinball gets a little more done. The worst thing about the books is that he doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of a story, and it doesn't really go anywhere. He's just talking about stuff, and there's a lot of useless information that you're like, why would he include this? And he probably didn't have a reason. He probably just thought it sounded cool, you know? And it's kind of cool to read something that's like very raw like that, but you could definitely get bored. Like, I could see you getting very bored with these books because they're not particularly exciting. But they're fun reads. Yeah, like I said, they're both quite similar, so I'm gonna kind of talk about them in the same kind of sense here. When I'm talking about like what's good and what's bad, they're both kind of similar things. Again, I like how Murakami uses references of little like bands, like he talks about Rubber Soul, the Beatles, mentions real world things. all the time. Which is interesting because I find he references real world things, but he never uses real names. And that's always a thing in his books, that he never uses people's real names. Like, what are the characters in this book? There's the rat. He doesn't name any of his girlfriends. Yeah, nobody in this book has names. Yeah, there's like the twins. I don't know, man. And my partner. There's no names, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I like the references that he uses. There's Jay. There's Jay from Jay's Bar, but that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, the stories that he tells are really funny, because this guy only fucks crazy girls. I swear, every girl that he talks about is just batshit crazy. It's really funny. Except for the twins. Actually, the twins are pretty chill. That's just a crazy situation, but the twins are pretty chill. But all the other girls are wild. And it's an entertaining book for sure. Okay, I'll go over some of the annotations I had when I was reading this. So, it's nice to love without worrying about it lasting. And, I think he does that in a lot of his books. Yeah, just live in the moment. And he doesn't worry about his future to the point where almost it's too much. This guy doesn't worry about his future, think about his future at all, and he gets stuck in the present and the past, just doing the same cycles and not thinking about where he wants to go or be, and just getting stuck in the same ways. And I think that's one of the main themes of this trilogy of books, is people that are stuck in the past, of the glory days of their youth, that don't know like how to move on, how to find something new, how to change themselves. They just kind of stay stuck in their ways and enjoy. I mean, like, you can enjoy being in your life, but they have no direction, and that comes back to hurt them quite a few times. Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about was that he likes silent moments. There's a lot of moments in this book, and other murakami books as well, where it's two people just kind of sitting in silence, just enjoying a moment. And I think that's really beautiful, and I feel like that doesn't happen much anymore. And I'm trying to get more used to just being in silence with my own brain, and just kind of taking everything in and enjoying every aspect of the present, every one of my senses, and not being just constantly distracted by things like my phone and everything else around us all the time, trying to fight for our attention, but just kind of sitting, and even with someone else, not having to make conversation all the time, but just kind of sitting and enjoying their presence can be very nice. And I like he includes a lot of moments like that. It definitely feels like a book from 50 years ago, which it is. Okay, he's got some really cool quotes here that I liked. One is, he's talking about something that kind of feels off. This is the part where the rat is imagining this girl's apartment, I think. And it says, as if copied with tracing paper that kept slipping out of place. And that's awesome, because for one, I relate to that. I've drawn with tracing paper and it slips out of place, and I'm like, fuck, what's the point of tracing paper if it slips out of place? You can't get the right thing. Oh shit, that was bad. Okay, he's got a lot of great quotes in here. I really like the language he uses. One of those is, I think it's from the scene where the rat is trying to imagine what the girl's apartment looked like, and he's talking about something that kind of just seems slightly off. And he says, as if copied with tracing paper that kept slipping out of place. Really cool, really good imagery there from that one. Yeah, you can imagine something just very slightly off, and it kind of screws your whole thing up. You just can't accept it. And then another one was, how can those who live in the light of day possibly comprehend the depths of night? Very cool, very cool. I think there he's talking about death, how if you're living in this world where once you're alive, how can you possibly comprehend what happens when our soul departs, Who knows? It's anyone's guess. Nobody has any idea. And then the one, there's no such thing as a perfect piece of writing, just as there's no such thing as a perfect despair. Now, I still don't get that one. And that's the thing he says at the start of the book. Like, I didn't get it, but now I get it. I'm still at the stage where I don't get it. So, if anyone's watching this and you think you get it, then that would be cool if you left your interpretation in the comments. It would be very cool. Another quote. Well, this is not... Yeah, I think it's a quote. That which does not been expressed does not exist. And that's the part where the teacher is trying to teach him like how to talk and be a normal social person. And that's so true, that we will live in our own minds and think about these things and put these interpretations on other people. But if you don't express it, it's not real. It's just a figment of your imagination. It's only in your world and nobody else knows that it's happening. So you can't expect them to just know it. So you have to express everything and be clear as possible with your intentions and your words. Be impeccable with your word. Okay, some other things. The cow. The cow chewing on the cud. He tells this random story at one point about a cow that he dissected, this like cow's stomach in high school, and there was a cud in his stomach, and he found that cud and he just kind of kept it. And he was like, why would this cow keep chewing on this same old cud? And I think that is a metaphor for people who live on the past and constantly think about the same past experiences over and over and over again, and it doesn't do them any good. Like, of course, you should reflect on your experiences and learn something from it, but then... Oh, okay. My camera out of storage, so I completely forgot where I was at, but I'm back, and yeah, the wind sweeps the past away. It's forever forgotten. It's behind you. You never get it back. So don't live your life holding on to it, because you can't hold on to it. It's gonna get blown away by the wind. So yeah. Okay, what else am I talking about? Writing is a meaning trap. And when did I read this? I don't know when I read this from, but just because you write something doesn't make it true. If you're writing a book to give meaning to your life, you know, if you're writing a story like this one, just because you wrote about a guy that lives with twins and got to do all these things and sleep with them every night, that doesn't mean you actually did those things, you know? It's cool, but it's a cool book, but you didn't do it. You know, you gotta actually do things. That's the only thing that has any gravity. So don't write a book to give yourself meaning. Write a book if you have something you want to record, you have a story you want to tell, you want to inspire people, but don't write a book just to give yourself meaning. It's a meaning trap. And I think he talks about that. I don't know, maybe I'm just making that up. But anyway, I don't know why he keeps mentioning Kennedy. There's a lot of references to like John Kennedy, which is kind of strange, but it's cool. I don't know. He's got a lot of little interesting references that he keeps coming back to. And again, I wrote down here many scenes that are quite pointless. I don't know what scene that was at, but yeah, there's a lot of like fluff, and it's just filler, and it's just kind of cool to read and fun, but it's not. It's whatever. There's a lot of coincidences again, like how he talks about in the introduction, what I talked about earlier with the money popping out of nowhere. There's the scene where the girl calls him on the radio for the California Girls song, and it's like some girl from his high school. He's like, oh, who was that girl? I can't remember her name. Who was it? And he tries to get in contact with her, but he just can't. And so he never ends up meeting this girl, but because the girl requested California Girls, he went to this record store to buy that record, and who does he meet? The girl from the start of the book that he didn't sleep with, but was sleeping in the same bed as her. Yeah, so just that all happened just to bring him together with this girl. So it's kind of cool, like everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences. It was meant to happen, to bring him to that girl. It wasn't meant for him to meet the phone girl, but it was meant for him to meet the record store girl. Numbers. Okay, there's that one part of the book where he talks about this one period of his life where he was counting everything. You know, he talked about 6,922 cigarettes that he smoked. But it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. There's no point in seeking this fame and recording your whole life and trying to tell every detail of yourself to people, because people don't care that much. People care about their own lives. And you should too. You should care about your own life, but shouldn't care that much. Just live it and enjoy it. And I think you should record things that happen and record moments and, like, yes, live in the present, but also record things because you're going to forget them. Because you only have so much space in your memory, and the pop stuff's going to go away. And if you don't write it down, then it'll be like it never happened to you. So definitely write down your past experiences, but don't write every single cigarette you smoke. That's a little bit much. The cicada feeling. So the part where the rat is like out in nature and he talks about this, like, what's the word? Epiphany he had when he was out in nature, and there was the cicadas chirping and this beautiful stream and everything, and it felt like all the universes at one. And it's cool to read the introduction because I think that was inspired by the kind of epiphanies that Murakami had when he was at the baseball game and he was like, oh, I can write a novel. Or when he picked up The Wounded Pigeon and he was like, oh, I'm going to win an award. So it's cool to see with the influences of some of the elements of his books. I really like that. And I'm going to look for those now in all the future Murakami books that I read. The pretentiousness of the main character. He definitely seems a little pretentious, especially when he's talking to the rat. Just the way he talks to him, he's not super down to earth. He's not like a bad guy, but he's definitely got a kind of like stuck up vibe to him. But what I thought was interesting, so that vibe makes the rat not want to vent about this girl that he was seeing and got him really sad. And so he's not a good friend because the rat can't open up to him, you know. You should be able to talk to your friends about anything, but this guy doesn't make it feel comfortable to talk. But what I thought was interesting was that the same kind of pretentiousness and know-it-all-y thing, it's not super know-it-all, it's just a little bit, but that same aspect of his personality makes the record store girl feel comfortable around him because it seems like she doesn't know a lot of things, and she asks him a lot of questions, and he always has a good answer for her. So she feels like he can take care of her. He knows all this stuff. He knows how to take care of her. He knows what's going to happen. He's very comforting, and his answers are very absolute. And so it's kind of cool. That's the same aspect of someone's personality. Some people will love, and some people won't love. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just about the interpretation. It's about the person that is about the way that the people are affected by it. So find someone that loves you for you, because people will love you for you because you're beautiful. Yeah. The Martian, what's that author he talks about? I don't remember the author's name, but he talks about that one book where this astronaut goes to Mars and he explores these crazy tunnels and he gets taken away to a time like 200 million years in the future, and he hears the voices of the wind of these ancient race that have learned to surpass mortality and live infinitely. And he asks them one question. He asks, what have you learned? And the voice just laughs at him. And then he kills himself. And I think what that is saying there is nothing out there to learn. There's no grand answer to life. Like, you can always learn new stuff while you're going through life, but there's no one big revelation and great answer that's going to tell you all the secrets of this universe. Just live your life. It's okay to be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss a lot of the time. Just live your life, enjoy it. You don't have to take life so seriously. Just have fun with it. Okay, so that is all the annotations I had for the Wind Sing, Hear the Wind Sing. Now to Pinball. So, bro, this the scene where he's living with the twins in the first one, where they're like talking like staccato, like sandwich, coffee, like that's straight out of an action movie. I already love how it's written just from the first few pages of the book. Super awesome, man. This guy's really cool. One thing that I wasn't sure about, there was this one symbol that keeps, I don't know if it's in every print of the book, but this symbol right here, and it comes up a lot, and I don't know what it is, if it's just like to break things up. And at first I thought it was like a lighter, so I thought it was every time he smokes a cigarette they put the symbol there, but then I realized he's smoking way more cigarettes than there are symbols there. So I don't know what it means, but if you have an idea, comment. Okay, a cool quote. Steered its way through the golden clouds of technology to softly touch the corrupt world below. That's pretty awesome energy. The corrupt world. The golden clouds. Okay, I really like this as an engineering student myself. The golden clouds of technology. He's talking about like the ideal world. Like in your mind, you have all these incredible inventions that you could bring to life. But when you try to bring them down, there's so many real world aspects like price, manufacturing, lifetime, heat, all this stuff that comes in the way and corrupts it and makes it so much harder to actually implement. So I just like appreciated that quote. I thought that was cool as an engineering student. Okay, his lunch break. So this guy, he does the same thing every day. He lives a boring life. But his lunch break sounds way cooler than mine, man. His lunch break was awesome. His typical lunch break, he goes to a little restaurant, he sees a bunch of cool people in the street, he goes and plays with this little cat at the pet store, he gets to talk to the owner. He does a lot of stuff at his lunch break, man. I think if you're doing stuff like that every day, that's not necessarily boring. Like, okay, it could be typical, it could be constant, it could be like similar. It's not the exact same thing every day, though. You're always getting new little things. So, everyone needs some sort of routine, some sort of constancy in their life. But as long as you have nice, new little exciting aspects of it, I think that's exciting. A good way to spice up your life. It's not boring. Everyone needs some sort of habit, you know? So, when he's talking about his typical lunch break, I think he just lacks meaning, and that's why he sees it as typical and just everyday, is because he feels like his life is going nowhere. It's not necessarily just the lunch break, it's his life as a whole. He just feels kind of stuck in this rut, doing the same actions every day, not really, like, moving forward, but not moving forward towards anything in particular. Yeah, so he feels kind of stuck because he lacks meaning, he lacks direction, and that makes his whole life a little bit sadder. So hopefully he finds that in the third book. We will see. Stay tuned. Even if you live... oh yeah, I wrote this. Even if you live an awesome life with two hot twins, you still need something to work towards. You need change. You need to create things. You need to meet new exciting people. You need to go to cool places and switch it up and try new sports and whatever. You need to grow. You need to improve yourself as a person. You can always work on yourself and be better. So yeah, just keep changing and growing. And it seems like everything in this guy's life kind of outgrows him. Like the twins eventually leave him. The girls from the start, she left him. They all left him. Some of them killed themselves. I don't know if that's... I mean, it's leaving him in a way. But anyway, this guy is always just kind of stuck, grinding his gears in the same place. And I think that's a very common theme of this trilogy, as I said before. Yeah, another thing, like, what's with the damn switch panel? I don't know why he thinks this switch panel is so important. They have a whole funeral. It's so weird. This book is so quirky and strange. Like, they hold a funeral for a switch panel. It's very strange. It's cool, but it's pretty weird. Oh yeah. The other reason. Oh my god. Okay, I should cut that. The other reason you can't live in the past is because even your memory will fade. So unless you've recorded everything, then I don't know. You're not gonna be. It's not gonna be there. All you really have is the present. All you have is what you're seeing in front of you, what you're hearing and feeling and tasting and seeing in front of your very eyes at this present moment. Everything else is just a kind of hazy recollection of it. And even if you're reliving that through recollecting your past, it's not exactly what, it's not the same. It's not what you felt. It's missing parts of it. So the only way to get the true fullest experience is to live every moment in the moment. So true. So true. Okay. I didn't have that many more things to say. But the rat, I think he didn't want to tell Jay because then it would make it real and he would actually have to leave, you know. When you have these ideas in your head, you're spying around, like, you don't want to commit. Maybe you're like, oh, it's going to be so great in your head. But then when you want to actually implement it, it's scary because you're like, oh, shoot, I got to take this big leap of faith and really commit. If he tells Jay, he can't back out because Jay's going to be like, oh, what the hell, man, you're lame, you should have left. What are you doing here? People are going to hold him accountable. So he knows once he tells Jay, he has to actually follow through with it and get the hell out of there. So it's scary. But, yeah, I think telling people about your plans is a two-edged sword because you should just do things for yourself. You shouldn't be doing things for other people. But also, it's good to tell people because they will hold you accountable for those things. And by telling them, you will make it real. You will put these expectations. You will make it harder for yourself to back out of things. But at the same time, yeah, make sure you're doing it for you and not just to impress other people, of course. Yeah, the pinball scene, that was very interesting, very cool. I love the imagery, the way he describes everything in that scene. It was kind of like recollecting with a past lover, the way he narrates it. It's pretty funny.